Okay. Hello. Hey, what's up? It's Jim. Me. How's it going, everybody? Let's make sure. Why did I hit refresh? What? Oh, can I hear me? Hold on. Hello? Okay, they can hear me. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Oh, hello, Super Dusky. Oh, thank you, Cornbread. I actually did forget. I did forget. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. That helped. Thank you. Actually, thank you, Cornbread. Hello, Austin. Hello, Sinram. Hello, Nathaniel Fogiev. Izzy is still here. Hello to Izzy, Purple Goop, Cornbread, Ramsey, the artist, Quicksilver. Was Quicksilver the one that's from Maryland? I'm forgetting. Long day. Um, yeah, Ramsey. All these people. Everybody's here. All my buds. William Ellman. Cool. I do want to see Iron Claw. That would be neat. But yes, we're here. Izzy is here. Amazing. Hey everyone. It's anyway. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Yes, Quicksilver is the railing guy. Okay, this happened on the Discord. I learned. Hello, a guy named Crystal. Oh, everybody's here. I learned that Quicksilver is from Maryland and has seen the Knock for sticker. Hello, Juan Don Nadi. I like that. And Austin's Mario Karting again. Give us updates. I want updates. I'm gonna just switch over. Oh, there's like a lot of applications open. What the fuck? We don't need VLC Player and Spotify open right now. Okay, anyway. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition, Wednesday edition. Let's move the mic a little closer to Movie Crap Live. Hello, Zodberg. Yeah, we're going to talk about animation and movie news today. Oh, you're sketching. That's interesting. Ramsey the artist. I do have, which con, Nathaniel Folk? I'm curious. I do have a energy drink which Cornbread could not guess, but I think when you look at the hint, which I now I forget what it is. Hello, El Vasquez. Yeah, well, first super chat will reveal. But I hope everyone is doing good. The second show of the new year. I feel like the new year's been positive. I don't know. I hope so. I hope for most of you, but it's been interesting. You know, just making stuff, trying to figure out how to get Magfest. Okay, cool. Get more stuff out, stuff like that. I've done a pretty consistent job. I think so. I hope you like the thing. The little South Park thing. I actually had fun making that version of the theme song from a MIDI, and I messed around with different instruments and tones and stuff. And I even though it's just a simple video I shot on my way to work, it like I had a lot of fun doing that. I don't know if people hate when I just show movie advertising, I find, but I don't know. They're fun little shorts. I mean, where else will that go? And the South Park ones are cool because you get they actually make certain posters for each season. I was like, these are kind of cool. Oh, you're the best, Jim. Here, cheers. Thank you, Austin. All right. So I said it. I think I said something like it used to be a person or something. It used to be alive. Oh, hey. Oh, you're seeing Mean Girls early. Well, I hope you enjoy it, Chan Talks More Movies. Please let us know what you thought of it later if you want to in the comments or something. But have fun. But anyway, this is I think I've done Ghost before. I don't know if I've done Tropical Mango, but I went with Ghost because it was at the grocery store and I was there and I thought... Sorry. I thought, why not? I actually thought... Oh, thank you, William Elman. Yeah, I have fun with them. I mean, they're not super hard to do, but anyway, cheers to you, Austin. Cheers to you. All spelled out on me there. Anyway, yes. Apparently, it says legendary energy, epic focus, 0 sugars, and no artificial colors. Okay. It's okay. I would by the way, anyone else wants to guess the energy drink. I know that's one of the sillier tweets of, trying to get people hyped up for the show, but I think Cornbread is the only one who's ever guessed one. So if anyone else wants to, they should. Thank you, William Elman. Thank you. I was worried. Everyone seemed to like them, but yeah. Anyway, Yeah, I guess my beard is thirsty. I like my beard. I think I'm gonna let it grow because it's cold. And I'm like, let's. Oh wait, this can go up here now. It's not a secret. Next to Izzy, there's Izzy. Next to Elf and me. Um. All right. No big updates or anything. The new film review is done. I'm sort of figuring out the release of that still. Um. Yeah, I did go through. If you saw the one where it's like a big star and there's music, I'm kind of going through saving a lot of footage and going through and finding stuff that can, because I have like a ton of music and I want to sort of utilize that better. So you might see more of those. And the next video will be my review of Wonka finally. And then I would like to do Saltburn, but it was sort of, if you watch the Muppets Christmas, John Denver Christmas one, it was sort of raining on the air conditioner and you could sort of hear it in that, but I think you can hear it worse in the Saltburn one. So we'll see if that's usable. I'm a little nervous, so that might, we'll see. If not Saltburn, I actually have a lot of like stuff shot for once. I have like a ton of videos shot, like for May December and Aquaman 2 and all, what was it, the Strangers one? Oh man, I'm blanking on it. Anyway, there's like a ton of stuff I have like shot. So I'm feeling good actually. I need to finish Pokemon 2000 though. Oh, I guess I should have revealed that. Anyway, I need to finish a bunch of stuff as well. So it's actually going fairly well channel wise and getting new stuff. And yeah, and the throwbacks are well. And I think you can guess because of the segments tonight, one being Larry and Steve, an early Seth MacFarlane cartoon, that the throwback on Friday will be my review of Ted, where I wear my first regular show shirt, which I tried to get a lot of people for Christmas. And they were all like, I don't watch this show. And I'm like, well, you should. And now I gave you the shirt. And none of them did. But their fucking loss. This regular show rules. So you can watch me talk about Ted now. It's there. It's just, I'm going to post it on the community tab and stuff. But I try to tell you if I have a story. I don't. It just, I have a cool regular show shirt. And because there's a new Ted show. And I was like, you know what? When are we going to talk about Ted again? Probably not too much. But I am excited to see Beekeeper. By this time the next show next week, I will have seen Beekeeper and I'm fucking pumped. And I asked a few critics who'd seen The Bricklayer, which is a similar premise, but instead of bees, it's like bricks. But that was Rennie Harlan came back for Bricklayer. So it's a little like, well, I do sort of like Rennie Harlan more than David Ayer, who directed Beekeeper. And they actually cleared it up for me because I don't think anyone cares about this. And they're like, no, Beekeeper's better. I was like, oh, phew. I'm glad I picked the right one because I kind of didn't want to see Bricklayer, to be honest, even though it's like, oh, Rennie Harlan though. And I didn't want to see both because I don't have a ton of time. I had to pick. Anyway, this is my dilemma this week. And yeah, I don't know. Had a cool birthday with my wife because it was her birthday. That was fun. Is it All of Us Strangers? That's what I saw. That was really good. Anyway, I'm not sure if anyone likes this part where I just like go over random channel stuff. I just feel like it's like weird to just be like, here we go. I don't know. I feel like we're just talking. We're just chilling. We're just catching up before you go over stuff. Maybe that's dumb. I don't know. Give me feedback, by the way. That always helps. But I actually am trying to do like more smaller movies and bigger movies. That's kind of my mission, but we'll see if I can succeed in that. We'll see. All right. And Boney's gonna save your life. You know what? I will say I was so pro regular show at the beginning. I was like showing everybody that in Gravity Falls. I would like hang out. I would hang out with people who are in like cool bands and DJs, and I was like, I play regular show. They did like regular show a lot actually. I got regular show into a lot of places. I'm assuming, is it Perfect Strangers? You mean the sitcom Perfect Strangers, really? I'm sure that's what you mean. I was like super like buying people regular show shirts, even if I knew they didn't like it. And no, I don't know why people wouldn't like that, because then when they saw it, they'd be like, "Oh man, Jim knew." But whatever. Have your review on Tuesday. Make it Ted Tuesdays. Oh my god. Maybe for Ted too. I don't know. Hello, Green Sparrow. But cheers to you, Al Vasquez. Ted Tuesdays. I have reviewed both Ted movies. I'm not going to watch that show. But cheers to you. Ryan Walterson, which helped me figure out the segments this week, is very more pro watching the Ted thing, I think, than me. Not to call him out. Is that a call out? I don't know. And I'm going to talk about Steamboat Silly this week in the segments as well. That's sort of about Steamboat Willie running amok, which I thought was very relevant now. I think I mentioned it when it came out, but now I felt like it's more relevant, and I kind of felt like I should go over it and review it now, and I felt like there was more to say about it than when it came out originally, because I'm surprised more people aren't talking about that one. I will do Plain Crazy and Galloping Gaucho later, and I kind of want to do other classic stuff because I've been a little inspired, but I thought this week I'll mess around. I would also like to go back to the DC stuff. I would like to I like doing the segments, but I gotta mix it up anyway. The first movie was funny. I forget what I said in 2012, but it used to be on TBS quite a bit, and I would defend it being funny. I don't own it, but if I saw it on TV, I would watch it. Do you know who else? Oh, Perfect Days. Sorry. I would be curious, a double feature of if you could find the sitcom Perfect Strangers, the prequel to Family Matters, not a joke, and then watch... it's a good sitcom, believe it. I watched it when I was a kid. Anyway, we should... Do I have anything else cool to talk about? I don't know. Yeah. Probably... I don't know. I can't think of anything that maybe is interesting to the show. But, I feel like I watched something and now I can't remember. Whatever. Do you know you were actually saying you thought you didn't have the message when you saw the trailer? Thought people were reading into the Steamboat Silly. Oh, okay. You did. Okay, the Cornbread reminds me. You said you did. You were actually saying you thought it didn't have the message when you saw the trailer. IMFO, you said you thought people were reading into the Steamboat Silly a bit much. I think it says something. Anyway, I'll get into it in the segment. Ted 2 has its moments. Anyway, the Contact reference. Wow, people remember Ted 2 more than me. I do remember the part where it comes up online every now and then. We're like Mark Wahlberg's at Comic-Con. We're here to announce the new Superman. And I think he says like Channing Tatum or something, and Mark Wahlberg just yells "fuck you." And like I thought, even though it's like not that funny, it's just like I love his instant reaction. Anyway, all right. Oh, that's true. Ted 2 did give us Patrick Warburton in a take suit, who Momo Khan green room buddy there. All right. So this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through a very nice super chat during the show where I'll drink this amazing Ghost Tropical Mango Ghost drink, or it was Jonah Hill as Superman. That is bullshit. Or through my Patreon, which is linked down below in the description. It helps me be able to do all sorts of things like publicize the show, get new equipment like a mic or a sound blanket or all sorts of different stuff, and helps me continue to do what I do here, which I very much appreciate if you're financially able to do so. The Patreon has all sorts of stuff like you have more power in the movie review vote. There's my commentary series. If you are a patron, I posted one this past week for the Not First Quickie Edgy. There'll be another one in a little bit, and the movie review vote winners, you learn all the totals of that, as well as you get postcards for $10 and up patrons and all sorts of cool stuff, and you have access to my public access TV show, which sometimes airs, oddly, I keep hearing, but if you want to actually watch it on demand, the only way is if you're a patron through the Patreon exclusive playlist. And yeah, people forget about the public access show, but it's there. Anyway, yes, if you're financially able to do so, I very much appreciate it if you can. And it has all sorts of cool exclusives and helps me keep doing this. But if you cannot, just liking this video or watching or subscribing, and you get all sorts of cool stuff like the community tab, like knowing when the videos come out, knowing when I do instant premieres, which I always usually do except for the shorts, and all sorts of cool stuff like that. And you get, when the new Film Art video comes up, you get it 24 hours early and stuff like that. I think I said that good, hopefully. Anyway, also, if you like everyone in this wonderful chat, and they're all wonderful people, thank you all for being here, and you would like to hang out with them, a good place to do that is on the Discord. That is linked below as well. It has all sorts of stuff like general, where before the show I ask, what do you want me to talk about in movie crap tonight? And the Ask Jim section, where you can ask me questions, and I will answer them when I can. I've been pretty good about it this past week, actually. And the licensed playing card channel, where I show when I have new playing cards, which I need to do. Cornbread apparently got the thumbnail closely. Apparently they're doing a watch along to Spice World. Oh, cool. I'm into that. You know what? I'll tell my how I saw Spice World story. It's maybe not that interesting, but maybe you'll care. I don't know. But they have movie watch alongs, a lot of interactivity. There's a daily question of the day, except for Wednesdays where I ask the thing about Movie Crap Live. But it's cool. It's interactive. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool channels in there. And I highly recommend you do so if you're into that community. Also, I'm on, obviously you're here on YouTube, but I'm on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, all those things. You can find them in the description down below. And yeah, before I get into it, yes, so the thing with Spice World, I actually saw it, and it's run very well, by the way, by Zane Powers and Austin, who do an amazing job. I saw Spice World actually on a ferry to Newfoundland. I didn't see it I wasn't super into the Spice Girls, but it was like nothing to do on this ferry, which took like, I think 8 hours from Canada to Newfoundland, and I saw that in U.S. Marshals, the sequel to The Fugitive. But yeah, I remember seeing Spice World in like this movie room where they just had a big TV, and you had to pay some money, or my parents paid money. And I remember I threw my Tamagotchi off that boat because it died, and that upset me. So it was the 90s, guys. What can I tell you? Anyway, let's actually move on to movie news. No one wants to hear my Newfoundland fairy news. So we're going to talk about the Golden Globes. Thank you for being here, Izzy. It was nice seeing you. Izzy's always here in spirit. Izzy's pretty much in all my videos, to be honest with you. But thank you for being here for a little bit. It was really cool of you. All right. Hey, you never know who's gonna show up. I guess, I don't know. But probably Izzy. Izzy's great. So let's just start off with the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes were a thing. I don't really watch them anymore. I kind of got out of the habit. But this was them trying to come back, and boy, did they fucking do it. They did. They got all the celebrities. There's lots of memes out of the videos, everything like that, except for Joe Coy sort of completely messing up being the host pretty badly, I would say. I do feel a little bad for him, and I feel bad for him for his career, because I feel like he messes up because of certain situations, like things that could have been more of a springboard for him have not worked out. Like he had that movie Easter Sunday, and it came out in August, which is not, to my understanding, when Easter is. And and then with the Golden Globes, he was apparently picked, like he says, 10 days before. I don't remember getting a ton of notice in the press before he was coming on. And I watched the opening monologue, and I thought he was okay at the beginning. And I thought the audience, like when he said the 10 days thing and threw the writers under the bus, everyone says they were sort of for him. They were like with him to a certain degree. And then it felt like after that joke, he really sucked, actually. Oh, hello, Madonna Butterfly. And it was like, it was like kind of funny. He was like, no, I can do this. It's the writers who set me up and stuff. But my thing, first off, I do think a real thing, especially in arts entertainment, is timing is everything. And if you are given sort of a perfect launch or something like that, Because you hear that about a lot of careers. They have like the perfect like meeting, and they have the perfect director and stuff, and they're able to become a superstar because of that perfect launching off point. And if it's messed up or they don't have the time to prepare, I'm totally for that. But I'm also like, I think like a true awesome comedian would have been able to figure something out that would have been fun. And I don't think that really worked. And I think I kind of wanted it to work out for him, to be honest, while the clips I watched, but it just like wasn't that good. And I don't think, the Golden Globe should have done better by, if they're going to pick him, they should have picked him more in advance. I think he's had a lot of big breaks that have not been handled the best with Easter Sunday and that. So I hope it works out for him in the future. Because I do think that happens a lot. Like, people go, oh, that person's so flaky. And then you look at the circumstances that they're put in, and you're like, oh my God, how did you get through that? But at the same point, I think he, I don't know, you got like a Don Rickles, you got a Rodney Dangerfield, you got like those legends, they would have pulled something out and gotten it to work. And I feel like him not getting it to work, like, wasn't a good calling card for him, whatsoever. But anyway, so we'll go through the awards, I guess. But the thing with the Golden Globes is, and everyone says, oh, they don't matter at all. And in a certain perspective, I agree. But another one, I don't. Because what happens is, and when the Golden Globes are working on all cylinders, which other than the host, this one sort of was, is they publicize these people. Their speeches go to be everywhere on social media and the news. And suddenly, Robert Downey Jr.'s speech is fucking everywhere. And so people who are voting on the Oscars, which started, I think, today or tomorrow, are thinking more about Robert Downey Jr., are thinking more about Emma Stone, or, or Paul Giamatti, or whoever. So I do think it helps who wins, and it helps those campaigns. I don't think it but I also think this award season sort of sucks, because it's like every critics group, every different award show is like the same group of movies to an extreme degree that I'm just a little cynical about it. Like, they used to throw in like in a weird one, and there'd be a little more variety, and this year it's really like the same bunch of movies, and I just don't really like that at all. Like, it seems like everybody just wants to be this sort of funnel to the Oscars and not be different, interesting thing. So anyway, the big surprise, I guess, was with Best Animation, The Bird and the Heron winning, or The Boy and the Heron. I don't know why I keep saying Heron. Over Spider-Verse. I guess the real question is, who will, what's going to happen with the Oscars? Like, do they want to give Miyazaki have his second one, or do they want Spider-Verse to have their second one? And it is kind of hard, because they are both really great animated films, both interesting animated films. I'm kind of like, either one winning is cool. I sort of want Spider-Verse to win more. But I've seen Bird and the Heron less times than Across the Spider-Verse. But I think Across the Spider-Verse really works on repeat viewing. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's basically between those two. Everything else, like the best cinematic achievement, it's real stupid. Like, best box office. What is this? Apparently Chris Rock declined to host. Best cinematic and box office achievement. I think what they did there, which is like super genius actually, is they were probably like, we're probably not going to give Barbie best musical or comedy, and if we don't, we'll catch a lot of shit for that. So if we give it box office cinematic achievement, Barbie still got something, it worked out. And I think that was like, I sort of think that was like the plan ultimately, because they knew they would get fucked somehow. Cineram says, yesterday I realized that Lily Gladstone was in Certain Women with Kristen Stewart. Didn't realize that I had seen her in anything before. I saw that recently, the second time I had COVID, I saw Certain Women. Cheers to you, Cineram. Nice to see you here, by the way, again. Yeah, no, Certain Women is a great movie. You can, I think you can find it on like Tubi and Pluto and stuff. I'm a big Kelly Reichardt fan, but that was a wonderful movie, and Lily Gladstone is really good in that. That's a really good movie. I really like that a lot. Need a category for best ocean spray promotion. I will get to the ocean spray Madam Web thing, Toon J723. But if they did Madam Web, I don't think, does Ocean Spray do a lot of promotions? I don't know. Thanks for bringing that up, Toon J723. Cheers to you. But yeah, giving it to, the Barbie snub would have been a big deal. But it's like best musical comedy was Poor Things, which there's been some like it could win best picture talk, which I don't think is going to happen. But Oppenheimer did a lot of that stuff. I think Oppenheimer will most likely win most of what it won at the Oscars. Most of the acting awards, especially supporting her, probably was going to have in the Oscars. It's really not that interesting this year. I'm going to be honest. It's like super fucking boring. I'm like, yeah, it's cool that Robert Downey Jr. is getting an Oscar. Yeah, I think, Christopher Nolan, I guess, we need to give him the Oscar, I guess. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan. But Lily Gladstone will win Best Actress. Divine, what's her name? I don't think Emma Stone sort of has a chance. I'm not sure about Best Actor, but then Divine Joy Randolph as the holdover is probably going to win. It's just so fucking dull. I just, like, how many times? I'm just not as into it this year, to be honest with you, just because it's like really the same, like we already know, and they haven't even started voting. Anyway, other awardsy, where's my script, where's my little thing there? Okay, other awardsy things, the DGA came out. The only crazy thing was, I guess some people, if you look at the director's past lives, isn't in there, but because it was a first time director, they were separate. It's like basically who you think would be able to, like, Greta Gerwig, Barbie, Alexander Payne, Holdovers, Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, and Yorgos Lanthimos. Is pretty much what it's going to be. So whatever. SAG didn't nominate May December, which I think is kind of bullshit as someone who's seen it. That review will come up hopefully soon. Nothing too crazy, to be real honest with you, I think. And I don't think they nominated Past Lives either. How could you not nominate Past Lives? That's weird. Anyway, I don't know. I don't get as obsessed with Oscars. It's also like, I don't have a New York Times subscription, and Kyle Buchanan I don't think has a podcast. So it's like kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I think the Golden Globes ultimately, like, wasn't a misfire or was it a disaster. The ratings were up, and I see memes about that still, like we're on Wednesday. To me, that's like a success into a certain regard. I think it sort of brought them back. And because Penske Media is powerful, because CBS and Viacom were working to it, because they got all the stars to show up, I think it worked out for them, and we're not getting rid of the Golden Globes anytime soon. Joe Coy, I don't know if he'll host anything ever again. That was sort of a bomb. I would like him to come back. I think if I was him, I would take the week off and then hit those clubs hard and, like, really, I would like, I'm not a fan of his. I don't know much about his material, but I'm rooting for that guy. I hope it works out for him. I hope he, like, takes his licks and he comes back, because I feel for that guy. Not many hosts that I'm like, I hope it works out for you. Most of them are like, get fucked. But I feel like that seeing someone bomb isn't fun. All right. So, The Simpsons. I talked about this on Twitter, and because The Simpsons won best outstanding animated program at the Emmys. This would be their 12th time winning. I have no problem with The Simpsons, by the way, before we get into this, and I have no problem with current Simpsons. I actually, every time I complain about this publicly, and people go, well, you should watch the episode that won. And by the way, I actually do. I actually did. I watched this Treehouse of Horror. I had already seen it. I thought it was good. The Babadook parody at the beginning stunk, but the other two were actually really good. I even started watching other modern episodes. The one with Duffman. I didn't finish that one. Duffman's kind of having to deal with a changing world, and he kept sorry, I think that's my wife in the other room. Uh, uh, um, sorry. Where was it? Oh yeah, he kept like trying to like break into bars, and he thought they were like ladies bars, and they kept being like ladies bar associations or ladies. Uh, I talked about this last year before. Maybe I talk about it every year. Anyway, but he kept breaking into like female lawyer associations and public defenders offices, and I was just like, that was pretty funny. That was like, anyway. I do think the Simpsons are still funny, but my issue is it's the 12th time. The only show that's gotten 5 is South Park, and that's the second most. And I'm not saying like South Park deserves 12 or another show deserves 12. I'm just like, could we just let other shows be in there? And could we not? Why isn't Smiling Friends nominated? Like it's just like the two shows that I would have picked over it was either Intergalactic or mostly Primal. I think Primal was the best of them. I just don't think they're doing very good with that category, and I understand there are probably people just clicking like, I know The Simpsons, why not? But I always get like certain backlash from people and stuff like that. But it's like, can we just like, can we just like spread the love of for animation shows and give them more other shows that sort of attention? So I don't know if it's like really doing anything for The Simpsons at this point. I don't know. I guess I did talk about that this last year. This is like a constant thing that I'm like, can we please stop letting The Simpsons win? I remember Trey Parker and Matt Stone actually said that category is actually The Simpsons and Four Losers, which is which is funny. But that's kind of true. It's been true the entire time. It's always like, oh my god, another show won. That's crazy. That's not The Simpsons. It's like the default winner. I don't know. I would like, a long time ago, Candice Bergen, for example, took her name out for Best Actress for Murphy Brown because she'd win every year. And same, I think Bill Cosby did that as well. And it's like, shouldn't The Simpsons do that at this point? Like, who's going to touch their record, It might be like a Disney won't let them sort of thing, but I wish at some point they consider it, because if that slot wasn't there for them, just even a nomination wise, who would get that slot? And would it mean more about that? But it does feel like they are just like default winner every year. I feel like everyone wants me to not talk after he said that. Anyway, let's move on. Sorry, I feel bad I made this the thumbnail. I guess I do complain about this every year. Oh well. But I did watch some Modern Simpsons, and it was pretty good. My point is, I didn't care much about the creative Emmys, but I do always look at what won Best Outstanding Animated Thing, and I guess I'm constantly always like, could we please do better? And let's move on. All right, so the Baby Yoda thing. There's the Baby Yoda movie, or it's going to be called The Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by Jon Favreau, was announced. We do not know when this will come out, but apparently in the end of 2025 there is a Star Wars date, and people think that's going to happen because this looks like it's going to go before cameras soon. And apparently there is not going to be a fourth season, and is just going to be this. I don't know if this is as exciting that we're doing this, but I also think, because Star Wars is trying to do this thing where like James Mangold sort of doing like a Jedi Order kind of thing, and then that other woman who's a newer director who I don't know her name as well, she's doing a Rey movie, and Dave Filoni is doing a different thing, which everyone's speculating that like this leads into Dave Filoni's movie and that'll end his whole saga or whatever the fuck. I don't know. No one. So Cineram says, I thought that 2025 Star Wars was for the Rey movie. We don't actually know what that was supposed to be, and like nothing's been put there. But apparently this is farther along in development and it's going to be shooting soon. I don't know what's going to happen with Star Wars, but I do kind of feel like the way they're pushing this, it feels like they sort of want to move on from the Grogu Mando era and move on to the new era of like James Mangold and the Rey movie and stuff like that. But I also, I don't know, I'm split on this because even though The Mandalorian season 3 did not really ignite the world as much as the other two seasons, you know, Baby Yoda was in the Thanksgiving Day parade, and I heard people bring him up a lot, and everyone knows who Baby Yoda is. So are there people who will, you know, if they cut a good trailer and it looks really neat and it's a Star Wars movie during Christmas, would this do well enough that it's sort of, you know, if they don't budget it too crazy, could this work out? And could this be good? And Favreau's a decent director. I know he never does different kinds of movies. You know, I think someone tweeted like, he made Chef and then he's stopped doing those kind of movies. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I mean, I did see Chef in theaters and most people did not see Chef. So I think that's part of the reason. I do think Favreau will do something interesting with it, but we really just know the announcement right now. I think the future of Star Wars is something they're sort of trying to figure out, but what I honestly think is we'll have various different sort of factions of movie franchises moving at once, whether it's like the future with the race stuff, the past, the faraway past, and then the middle past with the Grogu Mando stuff. And I think they sort of want to end that and go into something else. That's my own interpretation, but we'll see. I think it'll be interesting, but this does sort of feel like a thing. I have seen Chef. Yes, I have. I don't know. There's a review somewhere of it from 2013, I think. Anyway, Cinram says, what if Grogu is Yoda and then the movie travels back in time 900 years? I was about to say, like, I think Yoda's dead by the time we meet Grogu. So, anyway, cheers to you, Cinram. But isn't he supposed to be... Wasn't he like 100 years old? Right? I think he's 100 years old, like Grogu is. Anyway. In other Star Wars news, sort of, before we go on to a bigger story. So there's going to be a Linda Ronstadt biopic. Selena Gomez just announced that she's going to be playing Linda Ronstadt. That's cool. But we all know who Linda Ronstadt dated. No, not some guy from the Eagles. Maybe. I actually don't know her dating history. Sorry. Is George Lucas. They dated for a while. She, in fact, recorded albums. I think a couple albums. I know at least one at Skywalker Ranch. One of the few people who recorded out an entire pop album there. So my question is, who will play George Lucas? And first off, it can't be Josh Gad. So let's just like not let that happen. I just don't want that. The guy who played Coppola in the choice, the offer, that was a fun dumb show. That's a show just for TCM nerds like me. That's not a good show, but you can I can imagine when this happened in real life, and that seemed cool. But anyway, he the guy who played Coppola, he can play. I forget his name, and he was in the Fantastic Beasts as like the guy. Anyway, if anyone wants to look that up, but I would like to see if they're going to do George Lucas in the Linda Ronstadt thing, because that was his girlfriend after Marsha Lucas, I believe, or at least the guy from Red Letter Media. I'd be okay with that, Cineram. I like that. All right. So, well, I'll talk about this one thing. So, I think I forget who in the Discord pointed this out, but I was making fun of Andrew Garfield, and I think I said he wasn't going to be good in Frankenstein, and I was more excited for Mia Goth in Frankenstein. The Del Toro one. Oh, why can't George Lucas play George Lucas from Zane Powers? Bobby Moynihan, I like that. Jack Black. Oh, but George Lucas could play George Lucas. I like that. You know what? It would be weird because he's like a lot older than Selena Gomez, but I don't think he would do it. But I like your suggestion, St. Rose. Cheers to you. What's up, Austin? How's it going? Jack Black would be cool too. I make that joke. That was me. Okay, Cornbread did. Okay. So yeah, I was making fun of Andrew Garfield because it's like, how is he Frankenstein? Well, clearly Guillermo del Toro's friend, who has a friend, told him that I said that. Probably not. And they recasted the part of Frankenstein from Jacob Elordi, um, from Saltburn, and I guess for most people the what's it called, the Euphoria. Sorry, I was not actually trying to be like someone who, like, I can't remember the popular show. I forgot it actually. But he was in Saltburn. I actually saw Priscilla recently. He was pretty good. That movie is not the greatest version of that story, but it was fine, I guess. But him as Elvis, he was pretty good. So I think he has the height and the physicality of Frankenstein. I think he could do Frankenstein. I think he'd be really good. So I'm cool with that. I never thought Saltburn is gross. I never thought Andrew Garfield was a good choice. I think Jacob Elordi is a great choice as Frankenstein. I think he could fucking nail that stuff. I think Jacob Elordi has, since I've only seen him, I've seen him in 2 movies recently. I don't think I've seen very little of Euphoria. But I'm sort of like getting why Hollywood's so into him. I think he has a versatility to him, which I think could really work. So I think that'll be cool. So I was right, fuck Andrew Garfield. Why isn't he in the Garfield movie? I do not understand what he is doing. He should be in the Garfield movie. Like, why? Like, what is he doing? Like, come on, man. We all know you need to be in the Garfield movie. Like, just do it. Just be in it. Your name's Andrew Garfield. Lean into it. You let BoJack Horseman do it, or didn't. I don't know. That's still like my favorite lame joke. It's like Andrew Garfield hates Mondays and likes lasagna. I think that's funny. I'm sorry. Like, I like Andrew Garfield. Do I like his Spider-Man movies? Fuck no. Those are garbage. But I do. Do I? Sorry. I mean, they are. I'm not gonna defend that first one. I've never liked that crap. Sorry, it's not his fault that he was in the worst Spider-Man movies. Anyway, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is maybe the worst Spider-Man movie. Tom Cruise. Let's talk about Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise, who has been at Paramount since like forever, has decided to move to Warner Brothers and sign an exclusive deal with Warner's to make original and franchise films, and this is a big deal. Now, I know a lot of film people around my age overemphasize Mr. Cruise because he's been a movie star like literally. I think the month I was born, Risky Business blew up. So I think I can actually say he's been a movie star my entire life, pretty much. But he is big box office still. Top Gun, just what was it, 2 years ago, was the biggest movie of the year, despite Mission Impossible kind of didn't do as well because it came out a week before Barbie and Oppenheimer. It still made a lot of money. He's still a big box office star. Any studio would be happy to have him. What is this deal really about? Because I think there's 2 stories I want to talk about today that are, if you look at how the reporters reported it, they go, they were saying one thing and everyone else is speculating another. And if they're saying my source tells me this, I'm more inclined to believe that than like, hey, I just made up some bullshit. But I as well made up some bullshit and was like, this is probably because Paramount sort of bungled the release of Mission Impossible last summer, which is true. They should have moved that. But also people thought Barbie and Oppenheimer one of them should have moved at some point, and that obviously worked out. So nobody knew what was going on ultimately. But this actually leads into a story we talked about a couple shows ago. This is about Paramount trying to sell itself off at some point, and Tom Cruise does not want to be there when it's all falling apart. He wants to jump ship before that happens. He wants to make his last Mission Impossible, which I believe will happen. He is still allowed to make films at other studios if he wants, but this is about keeping the same amount of control, keeping still movie star status, and continuing to be Tom Cruise. Now, a lot of people have speculated, he'll make movies like he used to, like dramas and stuff. There's nothing, just like, we really know nothing. It's the same people who are like, he could be, his franchises, DC are franchises. And I'm like, I mean, That's cool, and that is true, but I don't see that being in actuality. Like, we really don't know anything. I sort of think he sort of knows Mission Impossible. Like, they were kind of speculating, like, well, maybe we won't end it or whatever it is and all this. I sort of think he will end it and he'll try to do another sort of franchise at Warner's, or he'll try to start something new. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think he would do a good Lex Luthor or something like that. But I also think, like, he probably just wants to do his own thing and be left alone to make movies, and those movies make a lot of money, and like that's what it is. But this was kind of a huge deal because it shows that, like, if he's jumping from Paramount, it shows that Paramount is going to be sold because he knows what's up and he doesn't want to be there for it, and he wants to set up a deal before that happens. So that might mean the Paramount thing happens really quickly, actually. Like, we could be seeing Paramount sold like maybe before May or something like that. Now that's me speculating, but the fact that he would do this so early is way more about that merger than is. I think the Mission Impossible thing probably had a little to do with it, but it's more about him not wanting to be there when they sold. Austin with the Super Chat says, when is he making the Kevin James Zane Powers space movie? You know what? That is a good question. Maybe Warner Brothers was like, we will play the space movie. We will pay for the space movie for him to go to space. What is going on with that? Wasn't Doug Liman doing that or something? And Zane Powers is going to be there. Zane Powers, what's going on? Can you give us an update on the Tom Cruise space movie? Cheers to you, Austin. That was a good callback. Thank you. But anyway, I don't think this means... If he thought Paramount was going to buy, or like Warner's was going to buy Paramount, why would he do this deal, basically? That's this to me. Unless he's like, I can get, sign a deal and have... Because he's getting, like, offices. Like, this is a real setup deal. I honestly think he knows Paramount is going to go somewhere, and it's not going to be somewhere he wants, and so he's bouncing somewhere else. So this is indicative of the Paramount sale that's going to happen soon. Anyway, I keep losing my script. I'm sorry. Let's move on to... So today, we have a bunch of news that just broke today. It's kind of... I had to keep editing the script. There's a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie announced. The lead casts are Leonardo DiCaprio, Regina Hall, and Sean Penn. Now, although I think Sean Penn is probably not as cool to anyone now, Leonardo DiCaprio being in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, we have been waiting for that shit since Boogie Nights when he turned it on to do Titanic, which I think worked out for him. I do know it seemed to be, this is sort of a play for, which happens to certain directors, that happened to Jason Reitman, and why he's doing Ghostbusters movies now, is some agents like, look, if you have a hit, we can do a couple licorice pizzas, but you haven't had a hit, so we need to do something. And Leo likes to work with auteur directors and stuff like that, so I think this is a good matchup for Leo, and Paul Thomas Anderson can have a hit because Leonardo DiCaprio's movies are always very big. So I think it works out for everyone. We don't know what it is. There was rumors there was going to be a Jazz Age Paul Thomas Anderson movie, and that was involved with Leo, but no one was really sure, in all fairness to anyone who said that. But this is going to be a modern set film, and there's probably going to be other stars announced and other people announced. But we do know... I did not actually see Licorice Pizza, and I feel like I should. Maybe when this comes out, I'll sit down and watch and review Licorice Pizza. But I think it's cool for Paul Thomas Anderson if he can have a hit. And I'm curious to see Leo in a Paul Thomas Anderson film. But I also happy for Regina Hall that she's getting this, because she's a great actress, actually, and we sort of underappreciate her in general. So I think that's cool. Also, this last night, two bits of... I want to explain the date changes that we saw. One was Godzilla vs. King Kong moved up from April 12th to March 29th. So if you're excited for that movie, you don't have to wait as long. It's going to come out sooner. That's not a big deal, honestly. Because 2024 is not a great movie year, release-wise, maybe there'll be good movies, but box office-wise, like, all progress we've made, it's not going to go good. And actually, I'm going to talk about box office after this, and it's not... this week's box office was good, but it's sort of... Anyway, But so they're moving stuff around to kind of help. But Mickey 17 was pushed off the calendar entirely. What most understanding or anyone who's more in the know has said is that this was not done because they don't believe in it. They very much believe in it. But one, March was a bad release date, and two, they wanted to do a Cannes premiere because Bong Joon-ho's last film, Parasite, is one of only two films to have won the Palme d'Or and Best Picture. And obviously, why would you not try that again? Like, why would you not do that? So I think maybe they've known for a while the March date wasn't going to stick, but they don't have a new date. No one's sure, probably in the fall. I wouldn't be surprised if like the Leo movie, the Lord of the Rings movie, animated movie gets bumped or something like that. We'll see what happens. I'm speculating wildly on that, but it was apparently moved so they could do more festivals and stuff and have a premiere at Cannes and not premiere in March. So it's not a bad sign. People are saying it's a disaster. They can admit it. No, they apparently the rumor is it's very good, and they kind of want to go for the awards. But it's also like Parasite was a fairly culturally box office wise and all that important movie, and I think if they're admitting they need to reorient their campaign, that's not a bad thing, and I wish more studios would do that. I mean, they wanted to do that with Iron Giant, but Brad Bird wouldn't let them. All right, so I can actually talk about box office. And I have some cool box office stuff. One, we're actually having a much healthier box office lately, and this is actually some of the best box office in terms of variety of movies than we've had in a long time. If we just go over the kind of top 10 or something, like Wonka was still number one with 14, like the top 5 all made around 10 million, which is good. With Wonka making 14, Night Swim making 11, Aquaman making 10 and getting to 100 million, Migration 9, and Anyone But You, which is the real hero story because it's actually been making more money every weekend. It opened on Christmas at like 6, the next weekend made like 7 or 8, and now this weekend it made 9. So he just keeps, every weekend it makes more money. Which is kind of crazy. It's at 43 million now. I'm not sure if it's word of mouth or like just the people people are hungry for romantic comedy and stuff, but it's actually good. This is good box office news that like the same amount of stuff is going on. So that's pretty neat. The same few movies are making about the same money. It's like shows that that's sort of what the future is going to be. It seems box office wise is we're not going to have a huge blockbuster winner. We're just going to have a lot of little winners, which I think is better for the industry, shows more variety and stuff like that. But it's kind of cool and good for Anyone But You. I haven't seen it. I have no real, it looked okay. I mean, I'll probably see it when it's on demand or something, but like I think that's actually cool that we're actually seeing that. So even like The Boys in the Boat has made like 30 million. Like we're seeing some really interesting box office stuff here, and like Godzilla Minus One's almost made about 50. It's like we're seeing some interesting stuff. Now the one box office thing I did want to talk about that's actually really interesting. I don't think I'll see Night Swim. Night Swim is very much an early January movie because I don't think anyone cares that much about Night Swim. Like I'm not even honestly that interested. There was a bunch of box office reports that apparently the total box office of this year is about 9 billion. Pre-pandemic, we're about 11 billion. And it's estimated that they were saying 1 in 5, but a better metric is 20% of the people who were going to the movies before the pandemic have not returned to the theater. So they've lost about 20% of their audience at the point we are now. I don't think we'll get that 20% back. Like I was saying last week, it was like before the pandemic, there was 900 movies a year, and now we're at 500 movies a year. So it's interesting that they've gotten that back with 500, not 900, but the 400 movies we're missing were all small and little and did make up a certain amount of audience. So there needs to be more, the increase of variety we're seeing and audiences enjoying that variety, I think is good. But at the same point, like that they've lost 20% is not great. And I don't expect that to be made up with this year unless we see a lot of breakouts. But I just don't see that happening. So that's sort of where we are. It's depressing. Okay. Consider the wow, Cornred. Considering the fatality rate of COVID, that's also like a fairly big factor. You know what? No one brought that up, but that's true. All right, I have two sort of returning franchise things, and then Supergirl. One is Paul Verhoeven is returning to America with an erotic thriller written by the writer of RoboCop, Ed Neumeyer. It's an erotic thriller called Young Sinner. The film is set in Washington, D.C. I'm not 100%. Did I miss the Spice Girl? What? Oh, you did miss the Spice Girl. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yay, a whole lot of films. A whole lot of people used to see films kick the bucket. 3 to 5% if we're being real. Okay, so 3 to 5% died. Thanks, Cornbread. So it's really 15%, I guess, of living people are kind of mixed. Anyway, so Paul Verhoeven is back with Ed Neumeyer. It's his first American film since Hollow Man, which was about 24 years ago. But it's supposed to be set in D.C. We're not sure who's going to start it or anything, but it looks like it's definitely going to happen. That sounds really cool. We'll see what Steven name is when it eventually comes out and stuff like that. But, sorry, I need some water. But I don't know. I'm glad Paul Verhoeven is back. I liked Elle. I did not see his Nun movie. That just seemed a lot. I would like to see his Nun movie. But I'm glad that we're getting Verhoeven again. Like, that's cool. I hope it's satirical, weird Verhoeven. I'm not as into strange erotic Verhoeven, but with Ed Neumeyer, I'm super interested because I think he could do some fun things with that. But hey, him returning to America, he's been talking about it forever. I'm glad it is actually happening. We also learned we're going to get a new 28 Days Later movie. It's going to be called 28 Years Later. It's confirmed that Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, which I think people forgot, Alex Garland wrote the original 28 Days Later, I think. I don't know if he wrote the second one. 28 Weeks Later? And I think I remember them saying they wanted to do a 28 Months Later, which didn't happen, I don't believe. But Danny Boyle's next film, which he hasn't made a film since yesterday, that cinematic masterpiece, that is going to be 28 Years Later with Alex Garland. I think that could be pretty interesting, to be honest with you. Verhoeven is 85 years old. Damn. That's crazy. But yeah, 28 Years Later I think could be really interesting. I don't know. Did they say what studio is doing it? But it's like an independent thing. We'll see what happens with that. But I do find that kind of interesting. Like, what would it be like 28 years later after the zombie outbreak and stuff? I guess I should see 28 Weeks Later because I never did. I liked 28 Days Later. That was a big, like, early shot on video movie, but it looked like fucking crap because you shouldn't shoot on video and then convert to film because everything was projected on film. So like, if you ever hear people go off on 28 Days Later who saw it in the theaters, it's because they saw it in the weirdest technological way possible. Because everyone I know who said if you saw it, even at the time, I whole film people go like, well, if you saw it projected digitally, which in 2003, I believe, when that came out, was not as prevalent. Now it's like it'd be hard to find a film print of it, and I don't think you'd want to be like see something projection film. So that's anyway. I think that could actually be cool. It's a cool concept. I am a little like, what happened with 28 Months Later? Can we get what? How many years is that? It was like 4 years later. So I guess they missed the boat on that. But 28 years later would be cool. I like everyone's like 28 miles later, 28 seconds later. That could be a short film before it, I think. All right, so the Supergirl casting came out today. Um, and they're going through various people on it. I guess this is for. I'm a little confused. I think this is for. She's going to have a part in Superman, or she's getting her own movie. Oh, she's going to cameo in a DC project that isn't Supergirl, but they want to get her cast. So the three people considered. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hoop Dreams was also like that. I didn't know why they didn't simply release the video version for home viewing. Oh, because I saw Hoop Dreams on home. I didn't realize they. Jesus, when they used to do that, it was so ugly. It was. It was not such a weird idea, but that was like how you release things theatrically. Oh my god. Anyway, cheers to you, Syndrome. Thank you for mentioning that, because it was a dark time. It was just like the worst way to show video. Anyway, cheers to you, Syndrome. Or like Collateral. Collateral looks good, but I'm sure on film it looked not so great. Except for the one sequence they shot in film in the club, because the didn't look right. Anyway, so the three people who they're considering for Supergirl, who this is for a cameo and then she'll have her own movie later, is Millie Alec, Emma Jones, and Meg Donnelly. Which one? Meg Donnelly, I know from the Zombies movies from Disney Channel, because she's the main girl in that. Is it Addison? No, is it? I forget. She's the main cheerleader girl. If anyone in the chat knows the Zombies movies, but Sophie used to watch this a lot, so I think she would be great. She's actually, I believe in her. The other ones are Alec, who's best known for House of the Dragon, and the other girl Jones was in Coda. Oh, cool, good for her. So apparently this casting, we're not 100% sure what movie this is going to be in. Everyone's assuming, because they're doing casting right now, she'll probably have a cameo in Superman Legacy. We'll see about that one. But I'm all for Meg Donnelly. I hope it works out for her. I think that would be cool. All right. So, oh, that's true. Cinerem. Troop Dreams did start out as a TV thing. All right, so like an hour left. How are we doing on? Oh, okay. I think we're okay, and then I can take a break, and hopefully I will end this on time. Hey, we have the Day of the Conquer thing. So, let's talk about what happened with Adult Swim on Sunday. They had Mickey Mouse sort of humping and doing all this crazy stuff within one of the Adult Swim bumpers. I think it is one of the more extreme versions of the Mickey Mouse thing that we've seen on air. Supposedly, a lot of people said other companies will not mess with Mickey Mouse out of professional decorum, but it's Adult Swim. So I think it was funny. I mean, it's like a really quick bumper that they got a lot of attention for. And that's sort of what people are doing with the Mickey Mouse thing. Again, I don't really mind, because Disney's made billions of dollars off public domain stuff. So if someone's going to fuck with them the same way, I think deservedly so. But, Adult Swim's going to be Adult Swim. So I get it. So the SAG AI voice agreement. This would be controversial, to say the least. I think SAG, post their strike, has been a little more into the AI thing than we all would have liked them to be, and particularly people, because it's with a company for video games and stuff, that the people do voiceovers for those things are not happy about it. And they apparently did not reach out to the people in the voiceover community who do video games and stuff like that to sign this deal. They sort of just did it. Now, to be clear, how this worked would be... Sorry. Sam Powers says, how do you think Disney adults are feeling about it? Oh, I'd love... What? You know what? How has anyone found one of those videos and they're like crying or something? I would love it. where they're crying about the slasher Mickey movie. By the way, I am determined I will see any Mickey Mouse slasher movie that comes out. Just give me a release date and let me know. I will do it. Anyway, cheers to you, St. Powers. I'm surprised there hasn't been. I'm sure they're quite upset. So the AI agreement, how this works is basically it's letting you have a sort of digital, I forget how they phrase it, basically a digital copy of your own voice, which you would then be able to rent out for gigs, basically. Was it I forget what a replica is to benefit an AI technology with knowing the likeness of the person. AI platforms. Basically, I forget the actual terms of it, but the idea is like you are a voice actor and you can basically pay to have a lesser version of you, an AI version, go out and do work, and you would make money off that thing as well. It'd be like a second way to make money. So instead of Tom Hanks hiring his brother to do Woody toys, he can hire his AI to do that, and they can maybe pay less money or something. And that's sort of the deals they've been sort of working on. Now, in theory, this sounds great because it I don't know, in a theory it sounds great because you can be making, two of you can be making income. How this doesn't work is it's basically like putting out shitty, you're not controlling how you would perform in these circumstances, and they could just use that technology, and how is that going to come back on you? I do think someone will, and I don't have a name involved, this is what I think will happen, is that there'll be someone who, is either sick or they can't work as much or they have financial struggles and they are a major voice actor and they will have to do this. Or they'll just be business savvy to a certain extent and they'll end up doing it and it will work out for them. And then when they do it, we'll see other people do it as well, sadly. I haven't seen anyone do this and it's like become super profitable, which has always been my sort of issue with the whole AI thing. It's like, I get that you all want to save money, but none of you have shown how this is actually going to make money. And if none of them are for it, I just don't see it really happening. So maybe it takes a different, yes, Tom Hanks' brother. There's a video on YouTube of like interviewing Tom Hanks' brother, and he did the voice of Woody in Lamp Life, I think. And it was actually really interesting, like all he does for his brother. And I know like Richard Dreyfuss's brother used to do car commercials and stuff. So it's like there are a lot of celebrities sound alike. So I really very much could see some of them employing these to do gigs like that. But I can also see those companies being like, oh, well, we'll actually pay you more to just get you instead of the AI. And so I don't really think it'll work. I just don't really see it fully working out, but I do think there'll be certain actors who will have to pursue it. But there was no major voice actor I saw, like Steve Blum was very much against it. He seemed to be one of the bigger replies to it, and they were pretty upset. I think the SAG leadership is probably going to be overturned, and rightfully so if they're making shitty deals like this, that the voiceover community is not for. And I just don't see why. I get that they need to come up with deals for these certain things so they're in place for certain people. So there's like an element to that I agree with. That it's like, I wish they would present it as, look, we have to figure this out to a certain degree so nobody gets fucked over. That is fine. That's what they should be doing. But the fact that they didn't do that, I don't know, didn't connect to the other people or didn't explain that, I think shows like kind of a bad leadership and makes it feel a little more nefarious and things like that. So we'll see what happens, but it's not something I'm terribly for. I don't think it's a good idea other than trying to put those protections in place, which is what a union should be doing, not just trying to sign deals with people. All right, I think this is the big news. I think it is. The Day the Clown Cried, I think most people knew, was supposed to come out or do a screening in 2025. And all of us who knew The Day the Clown Cried I've been waiting for this day for a very long time. However, it's recently been learned that there will be a screening at the National Audiovisual Conversation Center in Virginia in June of this year. We're not sure the exact date, but we do know that there's apparently going to be a screening of The Day the Clown Cried this summer. I'm really curious how this is going to go. I'm surprised they're not like, it's not streaming somewhere or something like that. Like, are we all going to have to like go to a theater to see this? I don't know. We'll see. But it is crazy. We will soon know more people than just, Harry Shearer will have seen The Day the Clown Cried. So the infamous Jerry Lewis film that, oh, hello. What's up? Hello, MBMG bot. Well, thank you. I hope you like the Belladonna Sadness video. But we'll see. I'm really curious about The Day the Clown Cried. I've been wanting to see it forever. Although I don't know Jerry Lewis movies very well, so maybe I should learn more about them, because I feel like I don't want to review it and everyone's like, talking about, oh, well, Jerry Lewis does this. I'm like, I fucking don't. I don't know Jerry Lewis movies very well. All right, so Stephen Yeun left as Sentry in Thunderbolts. This is my story. The other story I was talking about how all the bigger reporters were saying one thing and everyone else is like speculating on stuff. But supposedly he left because with the strikes delaying everything, he did have to leave because of a scheduling conflict that apparently was personal. Whether that's like, I don't know if he's married, but like his wife is going, expecting then, or I don't know if he's married or anything like that, or he has a family thing or whatever. Apparently it was a personal thing. It was not I booked two things at once. I know the Lee Isaac Chung movie is going in production soon also, so maybe he's worried about that, and he's going to be in that film. There's also been rumors about the new Jordan Peele movie, and he might be involved. Him and Daniel Kaluuya might be involved in that, which I keep hearing, but that's completely a rumor. But we do know he left for personal reasons. I still think the Thunderbolts won't happen or will get massively delayed. It sounds like he tried to leave on good terms. I don't know. Everyone's going, well, maybe he's going to be the X-Men and stuff. And I'm like, I just don't see that. Honestly, I just think he had a personal reason and he left. So, I don't know. We'll see what the deal is later. But I think maybe a lot of people are saying maybe Sentry would have been played by this guy or this guy. We'll see. But I hope he's okay. And I'm excited for the Lee Isaac Chung movie. I think that could be cool. So we got our first look at Madam Web, or Allison, or Dakota Johnson. Allison, I don't know what I was doing there. Dakota Johnson as Madam Web in an ocean spray bottle. That's how it was revealed. I'm not sure. This movie is very 2000s and very kind of... Oh my God. The Madam Web movie just looks so ridiculous. Like, I don't understand... Like, it's going for 2000s. I do like one moment, I think that would be is kind of crazy. Madam Web isn't the first to leak via Drake. Venom. Oh yes, that's true. Venom did get released on a wrist size tea bottle. I forgot about that. But thank you, Remiku Harika Shrine. I'm kind of, I don't know, it's cold up here. But I have noticed this, like, someone said, like, it looks like a porn parody. People were like, it looks so 2000s. I noticed, like, Pan Pizza on Twitter was like, why is everyone shitting on 2000s movies? Because that's, like, his nostalgia. I do think people lovingly sort of like this, but it is kind of funny how bad Sony's sort of handling this. Like, even the Marvel logo they made for it, it seems like people are eating it up. Like, it is funny. Sony's really trying to make this Spider-Man extended universe, and for the most part, people are just ready to meme the fuck out of it. And like, the ocean spray bottle thing is like epically just hilarious. That's how they revealed Madam Web. Is like kind of really funny, I think. I do not know who let the dogs out, but you should take better care of your gate, I guess. Anyway, I'm just going to go through a few things, then we'll take a break. Caitlin Devers is in The Last of Us, was cast in The Last of Us. I don't know much about the game and the show and stuff, but I saw her in No One Will Save Us, and she was really good. And I think if she can do that, she can sort of do anything. I know she's more known for like dialogue stuff, but I think like more dialogue heavy performances. I mean, and I think she would be great in the show. So anybody, I know people have been like doubting it, but I think she would be great. There's apparently a new Mike Judge show called In the Know. It is Zach Woods plays sort of an NPR host, and he's sort of like he how would I like Zane Powers super chat says, how would it go if they leaned into being memes? I like how they accidentally lean into it, so I think that works better. If we knew it, it wouldn't be as good. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. But yeah, it's called In the Know. It's Mike Judge's new show on Peacock. Zach Woods plays an NPR host, and he interviews people, but the people he interviews are not animated or stop motion. They're live action, and everyone in the NPR world is stop motion animated. It looks interesting. I don't think I'd get Peacock or something, but it's an interesting idea. I'm curious how good that's going to be. I am curious, but it looks more like his Good Family kind of stuff, which never really worked. But yeah. Well, I mean, when I talk about Caitlin Devers and dialogue stuff, like you look at something like Booksmart or Rosaline, that's more like being funny and being very dialogue heavy. And I think like when I saw her in something like No One Will Save Us, which has no dialogue, it showed me like, oh, okay, she is more than just being so extremely, because she's known for like quick wit and like a ton of dialogue. So that's what I meant by that. And we learned Gerard Butler is going to play the dad in the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake. I've heard some people defend this. I don't. I think it is a business decision more than anything. I mean, he doesn't look anything like the character. I understand he voiced him. I'm not really into this. I know it's Dean Deblis who wants to break into live action, and this is like, it's an interesting idea having the same person who directed the animated one direct the live action one. But goddamn, I really hate this movie. It's so stupid. Anyway, and finally, before I take a break, the Willem Dafoe got his star on the Walk of Fame. That's really good. Congrats to him. But also, the Walk of Fame recently has just been picking people who I like a lot, and George Clinton is going to get a star on the Walk of Fame next Friday, January 19th. And Anthony Kiedis apparently is going to induct him. So, good for George Clinton. I was like, cool. I didn't know that. Anyway, I'm going to take a break, and then we'll be back, and then we'll do Larry and Steve, and then Steamboat Silly, and questions. And yeah, first I want to say appreciate everybody for being here. It means a lot. Thank you all for the super chats and everything like that. I'm going to be right back after these messages, and then we'll do the segments and everything like that. All right, cool. See you shortly. Hello. How's it going, everybody? All right. So we have like, hold on. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing good. I like that everybody's here. I don't know. It's always nice that everybody's here together. It's like kind of one of my favorite times of the week. It's like I get to hang out with my buds on the live stream. Anyway, is this a screamer? What do you mean? What? I'm confused by that. You mean streamer? Whatever. So I'm a little confused. Yeah. All right. Cheers to everyone. I just need some energy. Apologies. Is it really snowy where certain people are? I keep seeing that. Oh, there's a Steve McQueen documentary. I recently saw, I didn't read the article, and it was like Steve McQueen, the director, picks his favorite movies of Steve McQueen, the actor, and I was like, is this for real? This is real life? I never read what was going on. Oh, you're late for work? Uh-oh. The contestant? All right, anyway, let's do the segments. Let's get this so we can do some questions. We might end early. I feel like maybe, I don't know. I'm starting to feel it. Is Drive Away Dolls happening? Because I have not seen very much press for it. Is that happening? Anyway, I'd be down with a snowstorm. That'd be cool. All right, so Larry and Steve. Let's do this. So Larry and Steve is the What a Cartoon Hanna-Barbera produced version of the Larry and Steve thing. There was The Life of Larry, which is a student film made by Seth MacFarlane for Drive Away Dolls is by not Joel Cohen, but Ethan Cohen, I believe. So they both made separate movies. But sorry. Larry and Steve, so Seth MacFarlane made Life of Larry, which is basically the same concept as this, but this is the one that aired on What a Cartoon and was sort of right before he started pitching Family Guy. The premise is that Steve is the human and has the voice of basically Peter Griffin, and he has a dog named Larry, who is basically the voice of Brian. They're both obviously voiced by Seth MacFarlane. Larry was about to be sent to death at the pound, and then you see Steve, who can actually hear him talk. Everyone else just thinks he sounds like a dog, bark, bark, but Steve can hear him speak because he can speak, and takes him home, and kind of a bunch of kind of crazy pratfall things happen, like he's going to get him a new mattress. Crazy stuff happens with the car. It splits in two. There's all this like explosion with dynamite, stuff like that. It feels more like Tom and Jerry and funny cartoonish kind of stuff, which I think Seth MacFarlane, when he wrote for cartoons that were not created by him, like Johnny Bravo and stuff, you kind of get more of that Seth MacFarlane than you get the Seth MacFarlane we know from the Family Guy era. So it's actually sort of interesting mix between his kind of creatively led stuff and the stuff he was creatively having to do at the time, before he, kept doing stuff like that. But before he became who he became. But it's kind of, I would say, interesting because a couple people said on YouTube comments and stuff, like, if this show had happened, Larry and Steve from What a Cartoon, it would be, it would get good reviews, it'd be fondly remembered, but it wouldn't have lasted that long. And I kind of think it gets to it almost watching this. Because the criticism of Family Guy is like, hey, Lois, remember Back to the Future. And then, like, it cuts to Back to the Future and stuff. And then, like, that's, like, all the time with that show. And they're always, like, the same kind of shots. And the animation's not dynamic at all and stuff like that. And it's interesting to see it done in a different way. And it's sort of like, I like the idea, but I sort of like, he was much better at the character part later. I don't think he was as good at like doing this silly kind of Tom and Jerry stuff with the Family Guy. I know they sometimes do that in Family Guy. I'm not a Family Guy expert at this point at all, but it it's fairly interesting that how different he kind of was and how much it sort of doesn't work as well because he's trying to be a cartoon but not working as much on character. I think he sort of works better with character, what's more simple premise. There's not as many of these crazy animation things. Writing wise, I don't know if I like it as much. I have a fondness for this. I sort of wish this had happened because I think it like is certainly like fun, but it plays a little too like the character of Steve, who sounds exactly like Peter Griffin. Is it gets a little too Mr. Magoo-ish in this, which I don't think was their intent, but sort of comes off because like he's supposed to be so stupid. He'll press the wrong button, like they're looking at mattresses, and he presses a automatic massage stuff, and it like messes with Larry, or like he's such a bad driver he cuts his car in two, like all these things. But just like plays like with Mr. Magoo, it's like, well, he couldn't see, haha. Not that that joke's spectacular, but in this, it's like feels like kind of like, how could we update Mr. Magoo for the 90s, and he has a talking dog? Like it plays a little too much like that, and that I don't think the humor in that is spectacular, but it kind of makes you appreciate what Family Guy is now rather than it does make me kind of miss what this could have been, but it kind of makes me realize like, oh, maybe there's a method to that madness of what we've seen in Family Guy currently. I think it's like a cute little cartoon. It's sort of fun, but it's not spectacular by any means. It's sort of just like a fun little what a cartoon, and it definitely had some promise. Definitely had some promise behind it, which I guess Seth MacFarlane did go on to do. But it also makes you kind of realize I think he understood his style, his writing style, and what worked for him a lot better when he eventually got to Family Guy. This is sort of like an interesting, odd transition point. All right. So, okay. Oh, sorry. I need to wake myself up a little. I feel like I need to. Should have done a Tommy Tooby bit. Wake myself up. Is there any Tubi news? Like, there's always Tubi news. Come to Tubi, we got movies. Anyway, I picked them. I'm Tommy Tubi. Let's get into Mickey Mouse Steamboat Silly. Now, previously, if I can find the clip when I talked about this on a previous movie crap, I previously said, as Cornbread informed me, that I thought a lot of people's concern over Steamboat Willie going into the public domain was overblown and was not going to be as bad as I thought it was. I mean, maybe I was a little wrong about that, but I think the ultimate like moral lesson of this kind of plays into Disney being Disney and how controlling they are and everything like that, and kind of plays into the worst tendencies of the Paul Rudish shorts, which I do like the Paul Rudish Mickey Mouse shorts. I think they're some of the best Mickey Mouse shorts since Byworks was involved, quite frankly. And this was the last one. This was the end of that era, and then they're moving on and so forth. But I think what the ultimate message of this is dark and true and kind of makes you doubt the whole importance of trying to put something in the public domain, and makes it sort of makes Disney, you can sort of hear them laughing at your attempts at even thinking that you could take Mickey Mouse away from them. Now, Mickey is watching and actually reacting to Steamboat Willie because he, with his friends Goofy, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy, is going to show movies, and they're going to show home movies, and they put on Steamboat Willie. They all sing Turkey in the Straw together. They cut around a bit and like show Minnie showing up, and then the film breaks right before the animal abuse. And then Steamboat Willie leaves the frame of the film and like comes out of it and plays with Mickey, and then the film like kind of gets in a fan or something, and a ton of Steamboat Willies go around and run amok through the town. The Steamboat Willie original one starts making Donald into a instrument, and Goofy playing Goofy's teeth, and actually does a lot of the animal abuse things. So it's like, if you're like watching this, you're like, oh, they won't do it. They skipped over the animal abuse. I'm like, don't worry, he'll do that to the characters in this, except for playing the pig's udders. He doesn't do that. But then they all run amok. You see them doing all sorts of crazy stuff in town, including actually doing a skeleton dance, which I thought was a nice tribute to Iwerks, and getting involved in the pink elephant scene in Dumbo, which is another Iwerks reference, because I learned recently that he helped pick out the exact pink for that animation sequence and get it to work, and doing a lot of the technical aspects to make it pop the way it did. So I think that's probably a reference to that. Maybe I'm reaching on that one. But, they are able to contain the Steamboat Willies, but in the end, all his film canisters open, all these different Mickeys open, and it's kind of like, well, it's always something like, it's always nice to have Mickey and stuff like that. But it's always nice, I think, to have Mickey around. And then it turns and the whole earth is a Mickey Mouse head. What I honestly think this is saying, and I don't think it's overblown now, is this. Disney knows one thing. First off, Mickey Mouse is trademarked, and there's still legal protections over that character to a certain extent. But they know this. You can make whatever fucking Mickey Mouse you want. It doesn't matter. Have absolute fun. It'll be like so much fun. It'll be crazy. You can make your stupid horror movie. People are still going to come to Disneyland, Disney World, wear the Mickey Mouse hats. He's still a character they think of when they think of Disney. They're not going to think of your stupid YouTube channel. They're not going to think of your stupid horror movie. Go have your fun. Run amok through the whole fucking town. Make as many stupid Mickey Mouse cartoons as you want, because they all come back to fucking Disney. They're always going to come back to Disney. Doesn't matter what you do. And they knew this the entire time. It's like the whole thing with like the Escape of Tomorrow, like that horror movie that they shot in Disneyland. I thought it was kind of cool as a cult thing. I know everyone hates it. And their whole marketing strategies, they thought Disney would sue them, and Disney just ignored it. And I think Disney was playing 4D chess, where they went, we can't do anything to stop the public domain of Mickey Mouse. So why fight it? Because who's going to think of your fucking ass? They're going to think of Mickey Mouse with Disney forever and always. Have your fun, but it will always be Disney's Mickey Mouse. And I think the thing with the Paul Rudd shorts that I like is they're fun and they're weird and they do interesting things with the characters. The thing I don't like is they sometimes overdo it with the Disney references and self-congratulating the company. And this feels like sort of a corporate message almost. Like I think it kind of shows like, oh, well, Mickey Mouse will never go away and there'll be tons of different versions. And we're just one version and there'll be other ones, and it's all glorious and part of this amazing long-lasting cartoon character that made $1 billion corporation and stuff. But at the same time, knowing the context of it, Steamboat Willie, and Steamboat Willie being everywhere, and there being a ton of them, and them causing all this chaos, is something I can definitely read into now. Can't I? Can't we all read into that now? Certainly. And as much as I do think it is a kind of nice farewell to the character that they've got to be involved with for 10 years and saying, now we'll pass it on to the next person. Sorry. My ear itched. I apologize. I also think it was sort of them saying, like, you will always belong to the Disney company and there's nothing you can do to stop us. And it's certainly, like, sort of dark, but it's like they're right. It's always going to be Disney's, not just because it's trademark. They can, as much every year, there's going to be, there's a Make Mine Music. Didn't know that. You're always going to think of it with Disney, and there's no way you can stop it. It's like just, they will always own Mickey Mouse, whether legally or not. It is thought of with them. And Steamboat Willie only appears to be free because of the public domain, but in the public's heart, it will always be chained to Disney. All right. Maybe that was dark. I don't know. All right. Sorry I scratched my ear. I feel a little bad about that. But let's do questions. Oh man, it is kind of early. Was there other stories I should get to before we do questions real quick? I feel kind of bad. Did I skip over anything? Nothing I super want to talk about. I guess the Spawn. I'll talk about. Let's talk about three things because I feel kind of bad because I don't want to give you guys a shitty show. All right, hold on. One, did anyone hear about the Christopher Nolan Peloton thing? I thought this was a genius bit of thing because he's the only one. He did a thing about. He won the Film Critics Circle Award for Best Director, right? And then he talked about that he does a Peloton. He has a Peloton because Christopher Nolan, and how the Peloton teacher was a critic and like shat on his movie. And they found the clip later of her complaining about Tenet, and then she like kind of apologized and all that stuff. That was so weird, but I was like, man, Christopher Nolan's so smart because not only, like I'm telling you, when your speech at one of these award shows sort of goes viral and gets more attention, it helps your campaign. And not only did he show he's cool with critics, he handled himself well in that speech, and he got the video came out and everything. It was like it's this funny little thing. Anyway, the Blob remake. So this is going to be directed. There's a Blob remake announced. I won't spoil Austin. I won't spoil the questions. The Blob remake was announced from the director of David Bruckner, from the Hellraiser reboot. I think you could do an interesting Blob remake now, but I think if you're gonna do it, actually like make it modern, like make it like understanding of what a Blob would be now. I actually think it could be cool. I don't have much to say about it. Let's talk about Wildcats and Savage Dragons. Nice, Austin. If I ever do finally get to start my X-Men reviews, if I get them all done, I wouldn't mind doing a review of the first season, the only season of Wildcats. But cheers to you. I never was into Savage Dragon though, so. But the Spawn movie. So apparently there is sort of a debate on like they might need to get outside investors and stuff like that. But Jason Blum seems fairly committed to making this happen and wanting this to be a superhero movie. To be honest, like I think like if it was gonna come out, like 2024 is like a much more open year than 2025. And I feel like it coming out later than 2024 is a bad idea. I also just don't think it'll ever happen. Like it's been promised for so long. I've been hearing about this since '98 that I'm sort of just like, this is not going to happen ever. I don't think it's ever going to happen. So Alf got banned from Twitch. Look, I don't know what Alf said. I hope he didn't eat a cat on camera. But clearly, Twitch is a fake platform and YouTube is the real platform because my boy Alf is getting banned. I hope it wasn't because he said something crazy. But he got banned from Twitch. Clearly, we all know what this is about, and Salty TK Dan was behind it the whole time. We all know he has deep pockets with the Twitch people. Probably, maybe, I don't actually know. But he could, and he definitely got... He won't admit it because of the liberal media, maybe. I don't know. Is that what you're supposed to say? But he definitely got Alf banned because he's afraid. He is afraid of Alf. He's afraid of what he can do. He's afraid of his popularity. Everyone knows this. Everyone's been saying it forever. So obviously Alf was not saying anything that controversial, except for that he should be allowed to eat cats on camera. Obviously I don't have great feelings on that, but I just think Salty should stick up for Alf. Everyone knows Salty needs to stick up for Alf. It is deeply, deeply disappointing. It's that he basically, his silence is deafening. It's deafening silence. I don't really understand how that makes any sense, but he was behind it, also behind other things like JFK assassination, not Alf, but Salty. Don't ask me how he did it. And he's the reason we don't have Alf on Twitch. What could Alf be doing? We could be doing play-along, watch-alongs with the video games. Alf was great at it. Ninja was scared too. I bet it was a Ninja Salty collab to take down Alf. I'm sure he knows ninja. Or a ninja? Why is that guy called Ninja? That doesn't bug anybody? Like, I feel like you have to do a lot of work to be a ninja. I thought he just gets to be ninja. This country used to mean something. Anyway, Alf getting banned is clearly... maybe he should have made the thumbnail. Just Alf. Should just put Alf on all the thumbnails. Maybe that should be my default image. Is Alf. Alright, what happened to Alf? He got banned from Twitch somehow. Not sure how. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Pokemon something down. I could see that though. All right, I'm gonna write questions and then let's answer some questions and get out of here. Hold on. Questions below. He bought a black belt. Alf should take out Ninja. That's what I think. All right. Questions. Sinram asks, Jim is a pretty common first name here in the States. So you have a favorite fictional character named Jim? Movies about real people such as Jim Morrison or Jim Lovell. I used to like the Doors movie a lot more when I was a teenager. Now I'm like, I don't know. The only one I can really think of is the guy from The Office. And he's fine. I don't really have a favorite Jim. I guess James Gandolfini. He's nice. Maybe him. All right. Sorry, I wish I had like a better answer for all this. Fainofoga asks, with Paul Giamatti winning a Golden Globe Award, I wanted to ask, what's the characters of his you'd like to own an action figure of? Maybe the guy from Sideways. Jerry Heller from Straight Outta Compton. He was a good Jerry Heller. That was great casting. Jordan Bouchard. He would not come with Merlot. He'd come with the fancy wine he ate the cheeseburger with in Sideways. I haven't seen that movie in a while. I wonder if that's what I remember it is. Jordan Bouchard asks, what types of powers would superhero and supervillain versions of Jim have if you had to choose? Flight. And I was like Electro's powers, but I thought that would be a cool power for a superhero. Supervillain, I think, just like strength, because I think that's scarier when someone can just punch someone and stuff. But like, I think a superhero should have like the electro powers. I think that would actually be really neat. For a long time, I've thought that. All right, Austin. Oh, good night, William Ellman. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your super chats and everything. Austin says, hey, Jim, what a great show. Hopefully I'm still here and awake. My question, what are your thoughts on the whole Zack Snyder Rebel Moon, I'm calling it the grifter cut, where the movie is released, you have to watch it and fall asleep, and your dream was likely better than what was on screen, but it is Zack Snyder saying there will be a rated R cut that is his true vision of the movie that the studio didn't want you to see, when Netflix gave him money and freedom to make his poorly written, uncomfortable, and badly filmed bootleg mess of a film. What it seems like he is doing is drumming a fake grassroots hype for another Snyder cut of Rebel Moon, even though it was later revealed the majority of Snyder cut fans were bots. That's epic. Oh, hello, Daniel Vasquez. Okay. Let me finish Austin's and I will get to you. Director's cut thing did not help that movie, and it hurt people. It hurt the perception of the film, and I knew lots of people who went, well, I don't want to watch this now because there's going to be a director's cut in whatever months. I don't think it was a smart move, and it didn't make a lot of sense. I don't know if it was a grassroots. He was trying to emulate the grassroots thing because it was already announced, and that was probably part of his deal and stuff. I don't think it's the same thing. I just think it like, if people are like, oh, there's a fuller version, I'll just wait for that. And I think that hurt it in that, because there's people who, there's a ton of movies to watch around Christmas, and you have an option out of one of them, you're going to take it. So I think it was a dumb move ultimately. And I'm also like, that the part 1 and part 2 thing, you're already making Seven Samurai way too long. Why are you adding even more to it? It's just epically stupid, I think. I don't understand fully why he still needs to do that with every movie. And then everyone's like, the director's cut was better, and I've never seen any of them because I don't like him enough to sit through that. But it's like such a waste of time. Like, I knew people in film school do that, like make they'd make a short film and they make like so many different cuts of it, and then like depending on what screening you went to, you get a different cut, and it's not cool. Like the only different cuts that I thought were interesting was like Brazil, and they had that Criterion where you got like the studio cut, the director's cut, the release cut, like that. But see, Terry Gilliam didn't want to do that. He just had to do that. Like that's what is interesting. But like, I don't know, fucking Zack Snyder, because he does it with every movie. Like why? Just like learn how to make a releasable movie. Daniel Vasquez, thank you for the super chats here. Very generous. So you said, "Hey Jim, quick question. Since your parents let you go watch R-rated movies in the theaters by yourself, like Dogma, before you turn 17, will you do the same with your kids when they're 15 or 16?" First off, cheers to you, Daniel Vasquez, and that's a good question. I will answer that. First off, I think I'm about 10 years away from that being an issue. I don't know what the cinematic landscape is going to be in 10 years. So my answer, if they're watching this later or something, but even so, would be different at the time because I don't know what movie we're talking about. And I have a bigger issue. I have a less of an issue with sex and violence and more of an issue with the morals of a film. However, if you're just seeing mainstream stuff, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Probably younger than that, but it depends on the movie. Who knows what the cinematic trends will be then, or what they'll be interested in. I would be okay with that. But the difference is like my mom like was too busy or didn't care. I see everything, so I think like they're gonna be in a different situation where I'm like, oh, you want to see that? I don't know, or whatever. But at the same time, I do right now. I'm more restrictive of it because I don't want them exposed to something weird, but we'll see. I'm open to doing that, but understand like my mom for a lot of those did not know what I was really doing because she was just like sure whatever, but like I will know, so I think that will be a different situation, but most likely yes, I would like to do that. A simpler answer, yes, but overall different context. All right. Zane Powers, in this age, how important are stage names still? People are constantly like, would it have been better if would it have been better if I actually had a stage name, because I just go by my real name, and I always have been told that. I think it does matter because most people have cool screen names and stuff, but I think it is. I think it helps simplify things. I think it helps simplify a name. I think it'll always matter to a certain degree having a better marketable name, but thank you for the question. Thank you for the late super chat, St. Paris. All right. Let me. Sorry. What's going on? Okay. Let me move up here. Where I say questions. Okay. St. Power says, if we can bully Warner Brothers into giving us the Snyder Cut, why can't we bully them into giving us the Air Cut too? It'd be one of the greatest things to ever happen to cinema. Let me say this. The difference between the Snyder Cut and the Air Cut is the Air Cut presently exists. Like the Snyder Cut needed money to be finished. The Air Cut is finished and is done and is on a hard drive somewhere. Like David Ayer made a David Ayer cut and it exists. So in my mind, like just release it, and like the little posts you need to do, there's no way it's going to cost as much. So when I learned it was actually finished, I believe it's a complete cut, like it's a final cut, like a picture, like it's completed, then just I don't understand, because that seems pretty easy. Like I don't understand why you wouldn't, if it's already done. It's to me like it's just Warner's being dumb, but I don't honestly want to see it. So there's that. I don't know if Suicide Squad has the same following that Justice League had. I don't know. Cornbread said Sony today revealed their 100th anniversary intro and also their film slate for 2024. It's rough. Bad Boys 4, Ghostbusters, Karate Kid, Craven, Madam Web, Venom 3. Predict and rank the flops. Well, Bad Boys 3 was the highest grossing movie of 2020. The only one, I think Madam Web and Craven will flop out of those, to be honest. Can't do my Alf question anymore now. Oh, sorry. Thoughts on the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I love them. I've reviewed the first three, or the three, and I think they're all great. I think first one's the best. I think it decline in quality as they go on, but I really love the first one. I think the second one visually is way more complex in terms of like when you're looking at the frame and everything that's going on than it ever got the credit for. And it didn't even play in fucking IMAXs, and that always bugged me as much as it should have. Anyway, I love those movies. That's basically it. But if you want to hear more, I reviewed them all there on this YouTube thing, if you ever want to see a review of one of mine, just type in the movie name and my name, and it usually comes up. Not that my name's the easiest to remember. Zane Powers, what's the Oscar bait movie that never won an award? Well, presently it might be Maestro. I don't know. I can't think of one that never won an award. The most Oscar baity. I can probably think. Well, probably was it Rules May Apply, the Warren Beatty one. Jesus, that was so bad. Nathaniel Fogel, what's worse, Alf's show getting canned or being banned on Twitch? Being banned on... What the fuck did Alf do? Jesus. Salty's behind this. You can't convince me otherwise. Al Vasquez, question, with Family Guy moving to Wednesday nights, are you going to be beefing with Seth MacFarlane for hogging up your turf? That motherfucker. I don't think we come on at the same time, but I will forever blame him for me not being as big as Family Guy, I guess. Cornbread, what can we do as a community to help Alf in these trying times? Mail him a cat, I guess? No. Stop watching Twitch. Just just complete ban on Twitch. No more Twitch for anybody. Let's fully get rid of them. If they're not going to support Alf, I'm not going to support them. I never watch Twitch, so I will continue to not. Austin, so after you do all the X-Men and Wildcats, will you do a review of Ultra Force? Probably not. I still need to get to season 1. I've done like so much work on it, and I need to... There's just so many movies right now, it's a little crazy. I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully soon. Zane Powers, how come stars of biopics are never played by said biopic subject even when they're still alive and able to play the role? Marketing, I guess? Yeah, it is kind of dumb. Zane Powers, why do you always read my Patreon questions last? Can you read it first next week? Because first off, I always think the joke works best last. That's why I do that, to be perfectly clear. I think it's like, but if next week we will read Austin's first. But I literally did that because I thought it was funnier last, so there was a purpose behind it. Zane Powers, do you think The Rock's star is fading? Is John Cena taking his place? I do think The Rock's star is fading. I don't think anyone's really taking his place, but he needs to do that A24 shit, bro. Zane Powers, thoughts on Todd McFarlane? When I was a kid, I liked him a lot more. But keep in mind, and even like how I produce stuff prolifically, he was my main inspiration as a kid because he always had a Spawn issue out every month, and everyone would talk about it because the other Image guys were not doing that. But I'll say this, like, when you know about Todd McFarlane now, you go on YouTube and there's an hour-long interview, there's a documentary, there's all this stuff. When I was a kid, like, I don't think I knew what Todd McFarlane sounded like. Like, it wasn't a thing. Now I definitely know that, but at the time I didn't. So it's just so different in comparison. I think he's fine. I just think he's, like, sort of a blowhard. And I don't necessarily agree with, like, his work ethic as much as I used to. Ever see Come See the Paradise? No, I don't know what that is. Zane Powers, would you rather hang out with Fart McStupid or Joe Jr.? Fart McStupid's a lot of fun. I forget which one's not McStupid. Question, you believe Across the Spider-Verse will win Best Animated Film at the Oscars? I really don't know, but I think it's like either that or Boy and the Heron, to be honest. Nathaniel Foga, Best Director's Cut. Terminator 2 is actually better. Maybe Terminator 2. That one I like more. I'm just going to say Terminator 2. Sinram asks, Jesse Eisenberg played Lex Luthor Jr., not Lex. Agreed? I mean, I think what they're trying to do is do what naturally happens with Lex Luthor is they adapt him to the industrialists at the time, and I think Mark Zuckerberg made sense, but it sort of didn't work. Cornbread, best director at cutting, like, vegetables or like slicing meat or cutting paper or whatever. I would actually say Coppola because he is apparently a very good cook. Ramsey the artist, because of last week's watch along being Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, what was the last Kevin Smith movie you remember really liking? That's actually a good question. It's probably Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, to be honest with you. I think Clerks 3 was better than I gave it credit for, but the one I really liked, I think it was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Cinderam question. John Wick should win SAG Sun Award for the staircase fall. Agreed? Yes, I agree with that. Zane Powers, what happened to Sean Penn? He's a dick, I guess. I also think it's like you can't be a big actor like he was and never do a big blockbuster thing. Like, he didn't really try to be a movie star, and I think that very much did not work out for him in the long run because he is so much not doing like bigger movies, and like most of the public doesn't really know who he is, and he sort of disappears. And he tried to do a Taken ripoff and stuff. I don't know if anyone remembers that. So I think that sort of decreased him. And all that stuff with Madonna. When's Monster Truck 2 already? I know, right? I think Karate Kid and Ghostbusters aren't going to be anywhere. I'll be real. I think Karate Kid will work out, but I don't know. My mom was asking how you've been. Oh, I'm good. Thank you, Nathaniel Foga's mom. Favorite Spielberg flick? I gotta say Jaws, but E.T. would be very close. Okay, Anderson. Question, was Todd McFarlane's toys around as a kid? Yes, I did have some of the first ones. They were great. I thought everyone thought they were so cool. Like, people were talking about how great they were. It was amazing. Zane Powers, how would you like a punch to the face? Oh, I don't want that. Zane Powers also, how does it feel that the average person that's the same age as your audience doesn't know about the Woody Allen incident? I think I hope they do. Anyway, all right, I think that is it. I'm sorry if I got a little sleepy more at the end. But I want to say thank you very much for the generous super chats. That's very nice of you, everyone who financially able to do so. I keep forgetting to say this because it's happened a few times, but it didn't happen this week. If I'm doing an instant premiere and you're there and you do a super chat, I will read it out on the show, the next Movie Crap Live. So if you ever want to do that, you're more than welcome to. And all that breaking news. There's breaking news? Is there breaking news? But other than that, I don't know why he's saying breaking news. Why is he saying breaking news? Was it Alf was banned? What? Okay, I don't understand this. Whatever. The next review will be Wonka. Thank you all very much. I really do appreciate all that you guys do, and for me and the super chats and being patrons and watching the shows and all that stuff. I really think it's really cool. Anyway, I gotta go do some dishes. I hope I do. I'm a little tired, so we'll see if I can do the timestamps. I think we can do it. I believe in me. I think that I'll have it tonight. But if not, I'm sorry that they weren't there. You're all really great. Have a good night, and I will see you all next time, next week, whatever. Anyway, have a good night. Good luck to you all. Thank you for being here. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a good week. And I will see you all next time, and subscribe if you would like to. All right, peace. Bye.